Hey there! If this is your first time listening to the podcast, please be aware you're going to be listening to three queer trans people in their late 20s talking about a variety of different topics. Some of them may be a bit more mature than usual, but listener discretion is advised, and if you're under the age of 18, stop fucking listening. I'm not even joking about this right now. Get the fuck out! But for those of you remaining, enjoy the show. Also, I'm just going to repeat my point because for some reason it stopped recording in the middle of the bit of doing the Spirited Away bit for some goddamn reason.
What the
OBS
fuck?
hates me! OBS hates me! Welcome to the Chaotically podcast. OBS hates me.
And
Wait,
sometimes
did it stop
OBS
again?
hates her.
It stopped again?
Yeah, good thing I fucking caught it.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Hi everyone. This is I swear to God, we were tempting fate last time with the goddamn talk of in episode 19, we were talking about, oh, this is the technical difficulties podcast? No, this is the fucking technical difficulties podcast.
Welcome everybody to the Tech Support Podcast.
Fuck, I hate this.
We're glad I caught it, and we didn't just talk about everything for a full solid hour because I didn't notice the red fucking button wasn't going off. Hi, we were talking about Spirited Away, everybody. Welcome to Chaotically podcast for a third fucking time just to make sure it's down. I hate this. I hate everything about this.
I need to take a look at your OBS settings after this.
To be fair, this is on my laptop. This isn't on the one that's on my stream computer.
Huh, okay.
So, there's probably some fucky-wuckies going around on there, but, you caught us in the middle of, us talking about, I'm Spirited Away. Do you want to repeat your faults?
Was it not recording this whole time?
It was recording, a little bit, and then, it stopped, after we did, the intro bits. I just checked the audio from, the bits that were recorded. It stopped, after 3 minutes. Scream.
Wild. Everything's fine, smile.
Just to be sure, do you want to repeat your thoughts there, Missy, for a third time?
Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry.
I regret to inform you, the film is transcendent. I will never stop being apologetic. This film is really good.
Indeed.
Yeah, and in case it hasn't been made obvious by the fact we're happy to talk about it for a third time, mind you. Yeah, this film is great. And the fact that we're happy to talk about this not only for a second time in 2 weeks, but also just to be able to go back and discuss everything about that. And going off the part that I was sort of talking about, it's one of those movies that I will collectively just go back and rewatch every few years. I used to watch this yearly, but then I kind of fell off it a little bit because I was just it's a comfort film for sure, but I kind of want to be able to space it out so that I can enjoy it a bit more. So now I come back and I revisit it, and now it's just hey, there are small little bits here and there that I do kind of notice a bit more. And the bit that I was getting at as I realized that it wasn't recording for the little bit of that was the trans allegory of Yubaba taking your name and holding power over it, and holding power over you by taking away your name. That's sort of a massive trans allegory, and also just just taking away someone's personhood in that regard with identity. And we were going off that because Missy, you were talking about the stuff with Haku and how that was sort of just foreshadowed throughout the entire film, I think is what you were saying there.
Yeah. Way more foreshadowed than you'd believe. And you gotta respect a film that trusts its audience to pick up on very small, subtle things without putting a massive red circle around it and saying, "Did you see it?"
it is nice when you have films that trust the audience to actually view the film and interpret shit themselves, you know?
They're so infrequent. They're
Especially
so much
now, like-
less frequent nowadays.
Like, not to sound like a boomer, but that's especially a problem with a lot of films nowadays. Like,
Back in my day,
Maybe
we
I'm just
didn't
talking
have
about-
films that held your hand.
We
Maybe
had
I'll-
films that
maybe this-
trusted you were the audience.
maybe I'm just venting my frustrations about a movie I watched today, but we'll get to that later.
Oh god, more of this stuff of Jazzy watching bad movies. When will it end?
When
Probably
my roommate
never.
stops. When my roommate stops, because I'm just gonna be upfront before we get to that point that this movie I'll talk about later was my roommate's fault. So
okay,
Got
putting
it.
the blame on your roommate. We get it. We understand.
But
she accepts the blame. So I don't know why.
there you go.
But like,
Sam, I'm never gonna get tired of hearing Susan Egan's voice.
Me neither.
y'all same, honestly.
She is, her voice is what I aspire to reach,
And you're
even
and
just
to
a
be
fragment of.
You're doing a good job, and I say that positively to get close to that voice range, or at least that voice type.
Right.
I want to
Agree.
have a voice like that.
You want to sound
Maybe one
like
day.
everyone's elderly lesbian mom?
Yes.
I mean, why wouldn't
I mean,
you like?
You're not wrong,
Chloe, you've
but also
summed
at
up
the
my
same
entire
time-
personality.
Like Missy's the lesbian mom, and I'm the lesbian aunt who swears a lot. So
So what does that make me?
Exactly.
I don't know. What does that make you? You decide.
I don't know. I'm like the weird offset, like I'm like the weird two aunts I'm the aunt 2 family cycles removed, I guess, or however that Mel Brooks joke goes.
Who every time she walks onto the set, the audience applauds.
Hey.
Right. But yeah. Spirited Away, very good, I'd say.
And
Podcast ranking. I think Spirited Away, we can just very simply bump everything else down a slot, and Spirited Away goes right at the top.
Yes.
Yep.
This is the film that we all kind of agreed.
Very easy arrangement.
Yeah, we are gonna have to essentially, like, all agree on another film in the ranking when we get to it eventually. Because, like, we all agreed that Spirited Away is up at the top of our personal rankings. So, like, unless we all agree on a film down the line, I don't think anything in the podcast ranking is going to beat Spirited Away at this point.
Probably not, no.
And that is crazy to think about, not gonna lie.
It is.
So, podcast ranking from bottom to top, just to be sure there's no confusion this time.
Are you still recording, Chloe?
Yes, we are still recording.
Pog.
Grave,
Carry on.
Tom Poker, Nazca, Ocean Waves, Only Yesterday, Porco Roaster, My Name is the Yamadas, Castle in the Sky, My Name is Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service, Princess Mononoke, Whisper of the Heart, and Spirited Away.
Yay!
And to think, we have only just reached the 2000s on this.
Yeah,
Wild.
It's gonna be a trip. But, anywho, should I talk about a couple other movies I watched the last couple days, since now I can, since you had to re-record this?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Yes.
Alright, do you want me to talk about the good movie I watched, or the really, 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 really fucking bad one that's a disgrace to mankind,
You
and
know
no
what?
one should
We
ever
just
watch?
talked about a really good movie. So how about we sandwich the really good movies on one side and put the really bad movie in between. So talk about that really bad movie, rip that Band-Aid off, Jazzy.
Okay, today I watched the Snow White remake.
Oh no!
Oh no.
I'm gonna be 100% real with y'all. This is a 0 out of 10 movie. Like,
Holy!
there is nothing
Zero
that's even
redeeming
worth-
qualities?
0. Okay, there's one thing
They've fallen
I
off
kind
that
of,
hard.
There's one thing I kind of like, but it's such a small part of the film that it doesn't affect much. I liked Patrick Page's voice as the Magic Mirror, but that's because Patrick Page is awesome in his existence. So
Okay.
But he's barely in the movie. So, as far as I can tell, he was barely a blip on my radar by the time I was kind of going over my thoughts on this thing. This is bad. This is a terrible movie. No one should have written it. No one should have directed it. And no one outside of Gal Gadot should have starred in it. Gal Gadot is the only person who was worth starring in this movie. Because she is... I'm going to say right now, I don't like Gal Gadot. I don't like her as a person. I don't like her as an actress. This is the worst fucking Gal Gadot performance I've seen in my life.
Worse than her time as fucking Wonder Woman.
Yes, 100%. Because at least in other Gal Gadot movies, you only have to deal with her acting. This one requires you to also deal with her singing.
Oof.
Oh no.
One of the top Letterboxd reviews for this movie says, "You don't experience Gal Gadot's performance in this movie, you survive it."
Fucking
And
hell.
That's accurate. I can't even say that's hyperbole. That is 100% accurate. Like, I feel like I'm owed some sort of compensation for sitting through this performance, even though I didn't pay for it. So,
If you or your loved ones have spent time watching this film, you may be entitled to financial compensation.
but like, there's nothing here. This is a nothing movie. It's you know
How do you turn
on
Snow White into a nothing movie?
Oh, they tried to expand on it a bit. They did the Disney remake thing of trying
Well,
to
there's your
expand
problem.
on what's a simple fairy tale. Like, they have like all these political ramifications going on, and it's so bad. Like, they introduce
Oh,
the
no.
fact that the system this story takes place in is so fucked that this evil queen who only married into power was able to usurp the entire kingdom and turn the princess into a slave, despite like, and they never confront the systematic issues they introduce, because yes, there's systematic issues introduced in this film. They never confront them. The evil queen's dead and Snow White's queen now. They like, so their solution to the systematic issues is we put a good person in power, so everything's fine.
We put the good one in charge of the bad system. That means the bad system is good.
If you've ever wanted to see If you ever wanted to see
That's
J.K.
always how it
Rowling write
works.
Snow White, this is how it would look. Because it's the same. Because it's the same. It's the same shit they did with Harry Potter, where it's like, oh, we're not gonna solve any of the systematic issues. We just put good people in power. It's the same, like, milk toast. It's like it's the milk toast, like, downright right-wing in nature politics I hate. Like, it's funny to me that
we don't need to fix a broken system. All we need is good people in charge of the ship that's sinking. And the ship won't sink anymore.
It is hysterical to me that the fucking Daily Wire, shitheads they are, started a whole, like, outrage about this movie and tried and failed to make a more conservative, like, Snow White movie, when this is already a conservative Snow White movie.
I think you know why they did that, Jazzy.
I know exactly why, and look, I love Rachel Zegler. I think she's a great actress. I don't understand what critics were on when they said she was the saving grace. She was phoning it the fuck in. It's the same problem I had with Brave New World and Harrison Ford's performance, in that, yeah, if you compare them to to the people they're acting with, yeah, they're fine, but I am capable of viewing performances on their own, is the thing.
Oh my god, I just realized that podcast recording where you shit on Brave New World is basically kind of null.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, brief aside, Brave New World was bad, and I said in that last recording that it was the worst film I've seen in 2025 so far. It got dethroned. This is the worst film of 2025.
I was about to ask, did this dethrone Brave New World for you?
Lost.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. It 100% dethroned Brave New World, because at least Brave New World had a couple aspects where I was like, okay, that's fine. It's not a completely worthless experience. This is a completely worthless experience. The songs are all terrible. Even the ones they brought back from the original film sound overproduced and garbage. And the newer songs are just shit, and they're horribly sung. They gave Gal Gadot a villain song, which did no one look at
honey,
this
no.
like, why? I don't understand, because multiple people had to look at this. Multiple people had to look at the scene as it was being made and put into the movie. I refuse to believe no one looked at this, and there wasn't a single person who said, we shouldn't do this.
From a metatextual standpoint, the evil queen, you can tell she's bad because she's the only one in the movie who doesn't sing.
Oh yeah, and you know the transformation scene into the old hag from the original, which was kind of like this outright horror film like sequence that was amazing.
You mean the best part of the film? Yes.
Yeah, they didn't even try in this one. She just drinks a potion and suddenly she's a hag. That's all it is in this one.
Well, she didn't deserve the pomp and circumstance anyway.
Yeah, it's so bad. And the dwarves, these CGI abominations.
What do you mean, CGI?
Oh, because here's the thing. So, Disney's justification for using CG for the dwarves and not getting actual people with dwarvism to play the role is because they took a look at something Peter Dinklage said and completely misinterpreted it so that they could fuck it up, and every news outlet who had an issue with it will blame him, which is fucking bullshit. And Disney is full of fucking sniveling cowards.
Bloody hell.
I hate this movie. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I hate this movie. It is one of the most deplorable experiences I've ever seen in my life. It is probably the new worst Disney remake for me, which up until now was... I always flip-flop between The Lion King and Mulan. This beats both of them. This is easily worse than either of them. And
it sounds like an actively malicious experience.
It is! It feels actively malicious because it feels like... It just feels so weird to have a film in 20... So, I'm gonna spoil the end of this movie. I don't even care. Like, you shouldn't be seeing it, so I'm gonna do you a favor. So, the movie does not end when the prince kisses Snow White and brings her back to life, because at that point, there's 30 minutes left in the movie, believe it or not.
So,
no. Instead, Snow White leads a kind of, like a civil uprising against the queen, and she has a chance to kill... And she has a fucking chance to kill her at one point, but doesn't, because we need to prove we're better. We need to prove we're better than her, dang it, which...
fuck off!
Yeah, fuck right off!
And then the way they fucking talk to her, which pissed me off, especially since this came out this year in 2025, considering everything going on, especially in this country right now, they appeal to the humanity of the soldiers there, to the fucking cops of this world. That's how they win. They were able to get everyone against the queen by appealing to humanity of these people who are contributing to the issues. This is an irresponsible film, and I hate every second of it.
Yep.
This is bad. Like...
Real Pepsi Riot Cops moment.
It is a Pepsi Riot Cops moment.
Christ.
Only at least that's a short commercial. This is a 2-hour movie. A 2-hour movie!
You know, so they turned a Pepsi Riot Cops moment into a Pepsi Riot
a
Cops moment.
Yep.
You know, I remember a fucking video essay that Lindsay Ellis brought out like nearly a decade ago when Beauty and the Beast was coming out.
Shit.
The live action remake of Beauty and the Beast was coming out.
That was a decade? Oh my god.
Nearly a decade ago. It'll be 3 years when that happens, but that Lindsay Ellis video is like 7 years old at this point, and I go back to that video every time a new Disney remake comes out. And I especially went back to the well on that one when the Lilo and Stitch one came out recently this year. And literally, the one thing that always sticks out of my mind is the argument that the Disney live-action remakes are there to solve problems from the original source material. And all I have to fucking ask is, what were the problems in Lilo and Stitch and Snow White that needed fixing?
I'd argue the Snow White remake is more problematic than anything you could point out in the 30s film. Just saying, like, just because it's trying to do this milquetoast like centrist. We can appeal to their humanity. Don't fight. Fuck you. I actually yelled "fuck you" in the middle of this movie during that.
Everything started to go wrong with Maleficent.
Yeah, well...
I will go to bat for Maleficent, actually.
I won't. I won't go to bat for Maleficent.
I will play devil's advocate on Maleficent. It had a decent-ish plot. like focus on the other end of the scale in terms of like the Sleeping Beauty concept. I don't agree with the execution of it for sure, and I certainly don't agree with certain metaphors in that film, but I appreciate them trying to do something different with a live action remake.
I
Everything after
guess.
Maleficent has been absolute dog water, however.
Yeah, look. Oh my god. So my roommate seems to hate watching these when they come out on streaming, so there is a near guaranteed chance I will see Lilo and Stitch once it's out, and I'll come back onto this podcast and I'll probably bitch because I've already heard some stuff about it and I've already seen clips and it looks just as horrendous as I was expecting.
Okay,
So
Jazzy,
Jazzy, it's so bad.
Is this Ash we're talking about here?
yes, it's Ash. It's
Okay,
Ash.
Ash, if you listen to the podcast, stop fucking hate watching stuff like this. It's not healthy. How about watching a good movie for a change? Like, I don't know, the movie that you actually thought was good, Jazzy.
Yeah, this is how she paid me back for showing the movie I showed her last night, which was The Colors Within. Like this is a movie I'll move on to talk about that because I'm done with Snow White. Snow White gets a 0. Like you could say, oh, you need to score it from 1 to 10. Nope, 0. I refuse to back down on this. It is a 0 out of 10. Anyway, so The Colors Within is the newest film from Naoko Yamada, who directed my favorite movie of all time, A Silent Voice.
Oh, hell yeah. Like, that's a Naoko Yamada film. I'm gonna have to check that out then, because fucking love
Right.
Naoko Yamada stuff.
I do too. I've loved, like I said, Silent Voice is one of my favorite movies of all time, and while I didn't like Liz and the Bluebird as much, I still really enjoyed it, so...
Okay, but Liz and the Bluebird needs context because you need to watch Sound Euphonium in order to fully understand Liz and the Bluebird.
No, look, I heard people say that. I understood everything that was going on perfectly fine without seeing Sound Euphonium.
Okay.
I disagree. I fundamentally disagree with the fact that you need to watch Sound Euphonium, and I think the film on its nature doesn't require it, because otherwise why isn't Sound Euphonium's name anywhere on this poster? Like,
Technically it is. But go on.
no, it isn't. No, it isn't.
I can say
It's not
something
there.
right now that would make both of you very angry.
Say it.
What?
I keep mentally, having seen neither film, I keep getting your name and A Silent Voice mixed up in my head.
You know, I understand that, to be honest.
The point
They
is,
had very similar marketing.
Mhm. The point is, I really like Naoko Yamada's films, and I was very excited when I heard this one was coming out, especially when they announced that the English dub would feature Kylie McNeil, who voiced Suzu in Belle, and I really like her voice acting, so...
Yay!
So, with all that said, did The Colors Within live up to the hype? Did it beat A Silent Voice in my mind? To that second question, no. But to that first question, yes. The Colors Within is a very good movie. I forget the name of the company, but the animation was done by the same people who did Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, as well as the movie Ride Your Wave, and you could tell it was by the Ride Your Wave people because it has a similar look to it. I love the premise, and I love apparently it was unintentional, but it was very clearly a queer narrative.
Nice.
Like, I have trouble believing Yamada when she says it wasn't intended, because there are so many moments in this movie where I'm like, this is gayer than some actual R-rated sapphic films I've watched.
To backtrack just a minute, the studio was Science Saru.
Yes.
And oh my god, it was a Yamada and Reiko Yoshida fucking co-production. Okay, I'm gonna have to fucking watch this film, because anything that both Yamada and Yoshida work on is a fucking masterpiece. Case in point,
It is. And
case in point, fucking K-On! And Tamako Market.
they also did both A Silent Voice and Liz and the Bluebird, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So.
Those two, I have gone on record on this channel in the past to say those two are a fucking powerhouse of a team, and I will go to bat for them for eternity.
Yeah, no, this was a really good film. It's hard to go into details without going neck deep into spoilers. Basically, the premise is that the main character can see people as colors, basically, kind of like auras. And she becomes fascinated with the aura of one girl in particular, and you can already see the queer narrative coming out right now.
Yep.
And as a kind of result of a fun bit to try and impress her, they end up starting a band with this one boy who has kind of his own issues going on. And the best way I can describe it, this may not have been intended by the narrative, but it's basically the story of 3 queer autistic children starting a band, and it is great.
Love that.
I love
is
how it always
amazing.
comes back to fucking autistics starting a band.
No, it's like again, I don't know if it was intention, but all 3 of the main characters felt very autistic coded to me. Like,
Again, I'm just
like,
making a joke because it always comes back around to that for Yamada and Yoshida with fucking K-On! And Sound Euphonium.
mhm. And yeah, there's a lot to chew on in terms of themes for this movie. Particularly, faith and spirituality was surprisingly a strong aspect to this movie, which was a pleasant surprise to me.
Huh.
It's rare that we get films that incorporate aspects of faith and religion that aren't preachy garbage. So,
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very good film. I'm trying to recommend it while keeping details at a minimum because I really want people to see this. Let's just say if you like anything by Yamada, this'll definitely appeal to you, especially if you enjoyed either A Silent Voice or Liz and the Bluebird. So
Rad.
yeah, I really
I'm glad you
enjoyed this
watched one good thing.
Right. Also, I will say, there are songs in this movie, but they're all consolidated to a single scene. All of them are better than the songs in Snow White. Sorry, not sorry.
I mean, that's not
Oh.
that hard.
When the bar is
Yeah,
in hell.
Right, and Kylie McNeil gets to sing all of them, and as someone who really loved her singing in Belle, that makes me very happy. So
For real.
Love
for
that.
Real. Anyway, speaking of stuff that we've watched, has Melissa watched a thing lately?
Melissa has finally watched a thing.
yay!
And this thing, the thing that I have brought to class is actually a very recent thing. So, did either of you watch Phineas and Ferb the way that I did growing up?
How did you watch it?
No, I never watched Phineas and Ferb at all growing up, unfortunately.
Okay, very good show.
I've heard.
But how
Sorry,
did
Chloe?
you watch it? How did you watch it growing up then, Missy?
Define how.
Yeah, but okay, so when you said, did any of you watch Phineas and Ferb how I watched it growing up, what do you mean by that?
I mean that I watched it growing up.
Okay,
That's it.
I thought you meant it in a very specific way. So, like, yes,
No,
I watched it.
not how. It was how used in the place of like I did growing up. Sorry.
Okay, so yes, I did watch Phineas and Ferb growing up.
Okay. Did you know that so after Phineas and Ferb's 4-season run ended, the showrunners Dan Povenmire and Jeff Marsh did a sort of, I think they did like 2 spin-off series, Milo Murphy's Law and Hamster and Gretel, just sort of one after the other.
Yes.
Milo Murphy's Law had Weird Al as the titular protagonist.
I heard about that.
It was good. It had that same wittiness. Not quite the carefree whimsy of Phineas and Ferb, though. But Phineas and Ferb got renewed for season 5 this year. Maybe not this year. Maybe it was last year. But so the first episode of season 5 was released on YouTube for free. Probably to drag more people into getting a Disney Plus subscription. But at least the first episode is free. So I was like, literally today, I was like, huh. you know what? I'm gonna watch it. So I watched it. We're so back.
Oh hell
Yay.
yeah! Hell yeah!
I can say definitively, it's very good. it it does revel in its own celebrating, like, we're so back, especially in the first half of the 30-minute episode. Like it does what you would expect. It does the sort of fourth wall wink wink nudge nudge of, like, it feels like the school year has lasted for a long while. Well, because they assuming in the world of the show, there hasn't been a summer vacation since season 4 ended.
Because like that is
Which was years
strategically
ago.
when that is like when summer vacation technically ended in the Phineas and Ferbiverse.
Yes. And this picks up literally at the end of the next school year. So it's the afternoon that starts summer vacation
Oh,
the following year.
that's good actually.
I would the really big thing that stood out to me about the season 5 episode 1 is that there are so many Chekhov's guns, and every single one of them goes off.
Oh no.
Damn.
It's just like one-off bits of dialogue get like pivotal payoffs, anywhere between 5 to 20 minutes later on in the episode, because it's a two-parter. It's a 30-minute two-parter that's split into two 15-minute halves. So, and I will say, season 5 is not a good onboarding
You really
place
shouldn't.
to watch the show. Do not expect to jump into Phineas and Ferb season 5 episode 1 without having any context of the other 4 seasons. And expect the show to tell you exactly who everyone is and what their deal is. It expects you to know what everyone's deal is, because it subverts characters immediately.
So basically, it's one of those.
It expects that you're in on the joke for the joke to pay off.
Oh lordy, it's one of those.
Yes.
Fun.
It's not full of itself, though. If that makes
good,
sense.
At least.
Like it's more of a welcome home that's meant for people who were already fans of the show. And it's like, I also learned that I think the entire first season of Phineas and Ferb is available also for free on YouTube in full. So
Wait, really?
yeah, at least in my region. I can double check that, but I believe I saw
up on there. It is up on there in Australia as well. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That is wild.
I found that by
about.
looking for it.
That is
That
wild.
the entire
actually.
first season of the show is available for watching anytime for free.
Yeah, that is a wild
Yeah.
concept in current year 2025, where they're set to put everything on a goddamn streaming service or have it be thrown into the void.
That back in my day, we were still able to find anime episodes. You just had to watch them in part 1, part 2, part 3 per episode.
You kids today
yes.
don't know the real struggles we had to deal with.
Well, also kids today have to deal with not being able to find this stuff easily, accessibly, wink wink, nudge nudge.
Yep.
So in a way, we had it easier.
Just a little bit. Yeah. Like, that's
Jazzy,
wild.
I
honestly.
think you'd enjoy it. I think you would enjoy it. The even just like, especially also just the first season is fantastic. It's
I'll
an
have to keep in
amazing show.
mind.
Would it be safe to say that Phineas and
so
Ferb was
yeah.
one of the last great Disney animated shows, like before the more recent era?
When was Phineas and Ferb airing? That was like
2006,
mid
2007,
to
I want to
late.
say.
Okay, so that was heading into the Ribbon era.
Yes.
Or was the Ribbon era like 2004? I keep forgetting. I definitely know that Phineas and Ferb and Wizards of Waverly Place were on at the same time.
Yes.
So I think it was, yeah. Yeah, Phineas and Ferb was still going after Wizards of Waverly Place ended.
That's wild to think about, actually.
Melissa, they made a reboot/sequel of Wizards of Waverly Place. That show doesn't exist.
You're not a fan of that?
Not really, no.
I watched like the
I think
Wizards
it's
of Waverly Place as a whole, or just the reboot?
just the reboot.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I watched like the first episode that they released on YouTube for free. Not gonna lie, it looked kind of whack, to be honest.
Look, I am going to be 100% real with y'all. I never liked Wizards of Waverly Place, so a reboot was not going to appeal to me.
That is fair. That is entirely fair.
Then again, this idea of like making reboots for like Nickelodeon and Disney sitcoms feels like an exercise in futility to me.
Yes.
And it always does. Like I tried watching back when it first came out, I tried watching that iCarly reboot they did, which first of all, I think it's inherently stupid to do a reboot of any Dan Schneider show, considering I feel like history has permanently
Dan
tainted
Snyder joint. Oh no.
I was going to say, I feel like history has permanently tainted every Dan Schneider thing, and I think we need to not try and bring any of them back just on we have a moral obligation not to.
Agreed.
I get what they were trying to do in trying to reclaim it in their own right by doing it. It's sort of in the same vein as to why I kind of get why they did the Zoe 101 like reboot movie. Well, not reboot movie, like sequel continuation film, but like
at the same time, there's no reclaiming it. Like, I'm sorry to say, there's no reclaiming it. Like, they're tainted.
To be real,
too
Jeanette
much bad
McCurdy
shit
had
happened.
the right idea, just like bailing out and not going back.
Right. And her like what she said about the whole thing it kind of shaped my philosophy on the whole thing. Is that I don't think there's any reclaiming it personally. Like, I think too much bad shit happened to too many people who should not have dealt with it. And in order for these series to be quote unquote reclaimed, I think, but even ignoring ones with Dan Schneider's name on it, even just going by the concept of like reboots of Nickelodeon sitcoms alone, I just think it's an exercise in futility, because you're always going to have this constant back and forth of, do we hit all the nostalgia beats that people will love about the original, or do we try to do something new? And I will say, as someone who watched a bit of the iCarly reboot, my problem with that one was the times they were trying to do something new were interesting. but it was so dragged back by them also trying to relive the glory days. I'll say it, reboots of sitcoms like this feel like midlife crises. Like,
It's very much trying to have your cake and eat it too, and at the end of the day, you're never going to recapture that lightning in a bottle that was.
right,
No
and
matter
I
what
just
happened behind the scenes, just like the reception and the shaping of a generation that was all these originals.
This
right,
is
and then
like
you
if
tried to
Miley
just
Cyrus today went back and did a Hannah Montana reboot film.
Please do not curse
like
us with this
that just
timeline.
that wouldn't, like, yeah, that'd be a disaster waiting for happen. And I know there are like some of the older casts for some of these shows would love a reboot. I know the fucking cast for Ned's Declassified got kind of insane about it, to be nice, to be charitable.
The whole
Yeah.
Wizards of Waverly Place, quote unquote reboot slash sequel slash whatever the fuck it is, was produced, like, I think pretty much entirely by David Henry and Selena Gomez.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It only exists because those two specifically wanted to do it so badly.
Now, I'm not saying like revivals as a whole are inherently bad. Sometimes I have seen good revivals. I have seen good like movies that followed up on series that ended years ago. Like I really to
It has
use
to
an
be done with a
example I like.
specific intent, though.
Yeah, it does. Like for example, I really love Enter the Florpus, the Invader Zim revival film. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I do think it helps that it does work better in the realm of animation because you can keep the characters the same age. When if you do a reboot of a sitcom or something,
Yeah.
you gotta age up the characters. And I don't know, how do you do something like obviously they haven't done Ned's Declassified. Thank God. I do not I especially think that one would not work well in a revival form, but just thinking hypothetically, how would they do that? None of the characters are in school anymore. They're all in their 30s. Like, what do you
I think it would have to be something similar to Wizards, where it's like the next generation.
right, like I
Unfortunately.
yeah, I don't know because and like I said, I'm not saying it's impossible to do a revival of a live action work. It's just again, you need to be more willing to do something new and it feels like in this particular climate of entertainment, that's something a lot of studios don't want to do. Like I said, the biggest problem with iCarly is it felt dragged down by its need to pander to folks nostalgic for the original.
Yeah.
Like there are entire segments that just dedicated to iCarly member berries, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, it's kind of when I fell off after that first season because I kind of realized, oh, I get what's happening here and I don't like it.
hmm Meanwhile, you have something like Enter the Florpus, again, going back to an example I like, where the appeal wasn't in. Yes, there was an appeal in seeing characters like Zim, Gur, and and everyone back, but it was still able to kind of do its own thing, have its own brand of humor, and do something fun and interesting, even when compared to previous Invader Zim work. But yeah, like I said, it's just, I don't know. I feel like, but again, that's animated, so they were able to keep all the characters where they were when we last left them.
Yeah, and Vincent Martella his range as a vocal performer is very good.
Yeah.
I bet. Ah, oh, hi
Vincent
there, Hope.
Martella voices Phineas and also Hope.
Eh,
I liked Final Fantasy 13. I
I
think I
have
said this
a
in the lost
I have a
episode.
love hate relationship with 13. Like, believe it or not, like I I like the characters. I like every scene with Vanille and Fang. They're gay as fuck. Um,
God, Vanille and Fang. Yeah.
um Fang in general is just gender. I'm one of those weirdos who really likes lightning, so but like yeah, no. Gameplay is a bit off and I don't like Snow in any scene he's in. He's annoying. Die.
You don't like our
Valid.
himbo lord and savior?
There's a fine line
Himbo,
between
yes,
being
Lord and Savior is a bit of a stretch.
there's a fine line between being a himbo and being so hopelessly stupid that you fail to be endearing. That's Snow. Like, let me compare. And keep in mind, Final Fantasy usually does himbos well. Might I introduce Zack Fair? Himbo. Charming.
Me going
Likeable.
gaga.
Yeah. Snow. Also himbo. Fucking annoying. Die. Sorry, I
Yeah.
really don't like Snow. I hate
It's
it.
all right.
That's all good.
It's fine.
We're here to be haters.
I like Troy Baker's performance, I'll give him that, but I don't like Snow at all.
Now you say Troy Baker, yes, I can absolutely hear Troy Baker in Snow's voice.
Gosh. It's moments like this that really just make me realize, God, I love doing this podcast with you two. And like, I spoke at length about this the last time we did this version of it, but like, fucking hell, the fact that we've gone to like 20 episodes of this podcast kind of astounds me, to be honest. Even not including failed recordings, we've probably done more of these episodes that are probably going to come out. And like, even on the failed recordings, I fucking love doing this with you two. Like, even when it's just like, fuck, no, like, this recording fucked up somehow. I'm more annoyed about the fact that I don't get to share the stuff that we talked about with the world, because, like, I fucking just love coming on here, like, every other month or so, shooting the shit with y'all, and then just, like, being able to be all like, hey, this is what I got to talk about with, like, two of my best friends, not just in the voice acting community, but in general. Because, like, I don't know, like, well, I know the audience doesn't know this because, like, I talked at length about it last time, but, like, this podcast really is just one of those things where it's just, like, it all happened by chance. Because, like, I've known you two for, like, nearly 5 years at this point here, and, like, it's wild to think that, like, I knew you both separately, and then it's just like, oh, okay, we all kind of started talking to each other through, like, different stuff, like, different Discord servers and, Twitter before it became a health site, or while it was in the middle of becoming a health site, arguably.
Twitter
because,
was once upon a time not a hell site, or
Yeah.
less of a hell site.
Yeah,
Slightly less of a hell site, I'd say.
yeah,
A more tolerable hell site.
yeah. But the fact that, like, I got to know both of you through separate means, and then it's just like, oh, you two sort of started to, like, we all started to, like, talk with each other and interact on, like, Twitter and whatnot. And then one day I'm just like, so I had this really weird dream involving you two. We should probably do this. Maybe? I don't know.
I think that I'm. Pardon me if I misremember, but I think we'd been threatening to do a podcast together for like a year before that.
We were
Yeah,
threatening
we
each other
had.
to get on, like, a Discord
I think
call and, like,
we've joked about that beforehand.
I
Like,
think
yeah, but we're all like super busy, so it's probably not gonna happen.
Right, I think the thing that was keeping me from doing it is I was already on a podcast at the time, and it was a weekly one, and that was always tiring to keep up with, so.
yeah,
Yeah.
because, like, you were doing Gals of Geekdom weekly at that period of time, weren't you?
Yeah, no, like, it's... I kind of learned the hard way through that I did not like doing weekly podcasts, so...
This is why I like doing this monthly, because, to be honest here, I did do a weekly podcast at one period of time with a local friend, and that was just tiring to do in general, because it's just like, oh god, okay, I gotta set aside one entire, like, block of my Saturday to go over to their place in order to do a podcast and then hang out after the fact and then come home. That's like most of my Saturday taken care of to do a podcast in person. So like, I love the fact I get to do this with y'all like on a semi-monthly, sometimes month-to-month basis, because it's like, it's a dedicated time to just be all like, hey, cool, we get to actively just talk about these sorts of things and just do whatever, and it's just like, it's nice.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And like,
I wouldn't be as close friends with either of you if we hadn't started doing this.
same,
I
actually.
think I became a lot better friends with the two of you, like, after we started interacting regularly, because y'all know I'm a fucking hermit. Like, I keep the number of friends that I keep close regularly, I can count on like one, maybe 1.5 hands. So, like, it's real difficult to drag me out of my shell. And these two nerds did it. Congratulations.
Hey.
I mean, I definitely feel like I wouldn't be like as definitely I wouldn't be as good of friends with either of you. Like I definitely would be able to say, yeah, I think I'm pretty good friends with both. I think I'm friends with the both of them. But after doing this with y'all for like nearly 3 years at this point, I'm just like, oh yeah, they're like two of my best friends, not just as voice actors, but like in general. Cause like let me tell you something. Doing a podcast with people is one of those things that will test any friendship. I barely had a friendship with the both of these two, and somehow my friendship managed to get stronger as a result of doing a podcast with these two. So let that be a testament to the fact that, like, this podcast actually did positive for the relationships I had with people beforehand instead of like
Wild.
deteriorating a friendship as of doing a podcast together. Because like it's one of those things where a podcast, like any major project, doing it long term with any group of friends will absolutely like strain a friendship, I've found. But this did the absolute opposite effect, and I'm so glad for that because y'all, I fucking love the both of you, and like getting to do this and just be able to call you both some of the most closest friends I've had, not just as voice actors, but in general. I said this on the last time we did this, and I say it more so with confidence now. This has been one of the best decisions I feel like I've made, and the fact I've got to do this with y'all for like 20 of these episodes. Again, more if you count the failed recordings, but we don't count those. We're only counting the ones that officially came out. But getting to do this has been a joy, and I'm hoping I get to do this for like 20 more with y'all, and hell, even more than that.
Heck yeah.
I am planning to stop anytime soon.
Indeed.
Oh, God.
So, where can people find the both of you?
Do you want to start, Jazzy?
You can find me over at Lady Jazzington on BlueSky, or ladyjazzington.bisky.social. You can find me under
Sky.
Jazzy. You can find me under Jazzy Oliver VO here on YouTube, and you can find me at my website, jazzyolivervo.card.co. And also, to make special mention for this podcast especially, by the time this goes up, we'll be entering July. I plan on going to a couple of BFDIXII fan meetups. I will be going to the
Pog.
one in I will be going to the one in New York City during the weekend of the 11th through the 13th of July, as well as the one in LA from the 31st to the 3rd.
Oh, you're gonna be traveling then.
Wild.
Yes. Yeah. I'm still finalizing the LA plans. But yes, everything's looking good on that front, so
Sick. Chloe?
You can find me right here on this channel, Chloe Simflora, on YouTube. You can also find me on BlueSky at chloesimflora.bsky.social. You can find me on my website at chloeorlickvo.com. And, actually, that's about it, actually.
This channel right here?
Yeah, we make the joke every time, but like, hello, if you didn't realize that this is my channel, hi. Yeah, I'm the one that fucking hosts this stuff, which is why I'm the fucking host here.
No, I'm in someone else's house.
Holding a gun to
You
the
can
both
find
of you,
me,
I'm the host here.
You can find me on BlueSky at missyrovoice.bsky.social. I stream over on Twitch where I do art and animation and games. Just wrapping up Kingdom Hearts 1 next week, in fact. Over at twitch.tv/OzCyphara, OZCYPHARA. And you can also find my voiceover website, missyroland.com, where I have a new animation demo reel up
Yes.
as of yesterday recording.
Yes. And by the way, That shit is fucking great. I'm glad that you finally got that out into the world there, Missy. Just so you're aware.
Oh, thank you.
Heck yeah.
So, these have been my co-hosts.
No, you're not fucking doing that this time. These have been my co-hosts, Jazzy and Missy.
You know, I think I am pro Missy being the head honcho of the podcast.
My fucking god! What am I, chopped liver?
These have been my co-hosts, Chloe and Jazzy.
Oh,
I've
Jesus.
been Melissa.
Viva la revolution! Bye!
Bye. See you all next time.
Take my revolution. Bye.
Bye!